I'd like to call the public hearing to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Woodward.
Here.
Mr. Bond. Mr. McGrail. Present. Mr. Limey. Here. Mr. Mosley. Here. Ms. Blank.
Here.
Mr. Radke. Present. Mrs. Bortner.
Present. Okay. Should we excuse Bob from the public hearing? Is that typical? Okay. All right. Motion to excuse Bob.
I'll second.
By Limey and a second by Radke. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Adoption of agenda. Reading of public notice. Lordstown Village Council will conduct a public hearing on June 1st, 2026 at 5:15 p.m. at the Lordstown Village Administration Building, Council Chambers, 1455 Salt Springs Road, Southwest, Lordstown, Ohio 44481. The following legislation will be presented for discussion. An ordinance placing a temporary moratorium not to exceed 180 days on the granting, issuing of any new permits, as well as the receipt and processing of applications for permits for business entities utilizing small mobile reactors, SMRs, within the corporate limits of the Village of Lordstown and declaring an emergency. An ordinance placing a temporary moratorium not to exceed 180 days on the granting, issuing of any new permits, as well as the receipt and processing of applications for permits for business entities utilizing battery energy storage systems, BESS, within the corporate limits of the Village of Lordstown and declaring an emergency. The purpose of this hearing is to allow written and/or oral input from the public regarding the above legislation. Questions may be addressed to William L. Blank, Lordstown Village Clerk, at 330-824-2452, or Kelly Bordner, Lordstown Planning and Zoning Administrator, at 330-824-2489. Mayor's comments. I have really not much to say other than I do want to see these go through, whether or not emergency, that doesn't matter to me. Probably should go 3 readings on these. Council comments.
I have a comment, or more of a question on number 2, the one for the BESS storage system. Being that we have LG and GM building batteries in town here, if they ever switch their business over there to create these storage systems on the manufacturing side, would this impede
The manufacturing.
anything they might do there?
Yeah, I mean, it could, potentially, but again, this is, we're talking about, if they ever do something like this, this is a 180-day moratorium to look at it, and that would be something that would be considered during that 180 days. This isn't like, a permanent ban or anything, so that would be something to consider during the moratorium.
Or is this moratorium more for the
implementation
and usage of?
It says utilizing
Right.
battery energy storage
So
systems.
if they manufactured,
But they're not utilizing them?
What if, like on their production line, they were manufacturing the cells or the item itself to be sent out and utilized elsewhere?
Yeah, that would be different, because it's the use that's being prohibited and what is the concern. So if they're just manufacturing and there's no actual energy storage system being actually used, then that would be different. I don't believe that would be barred by this.
it wouldn't impose anything on
I don't believe so.
their business.
So one of the questions that came up, Solicitor Reese, was if Ultium, for example, is currently manufacturing electric batteries, and they change their manufacturing operation to manufacture battery energy storage systems, not to utilize them, but to create them and to send to other companies, would they have to come back through site plan review? Would that be a change of use?
Change of use. It would, that'd be a fact-by-fact determination, but likely not. And this, this is, again, not prohibiting the manufacturing, it's the utilization, because the utilization is the concern.
Correct, I get that. I just also it kind of went hand in hand, and since it came up, we just wanted to ask if that would be something that would have to come back through site plan review or not, still manufacturing.
Right.
I have a question. Jeff Alderman, 2832 Noon Falls Bailey Road. If any company that's already operating here in Lordstown is wanting to change what they're doing, shouldn't they have a site plan review anyway? That way we know the ins and outs of what they're intending on doing, what they're changing. I mean, that makes sense to me. Why are we just leaving it up to them to change and do everything however they want without community surveillance?
Do we have something in writing that triggers a site plan review?
For change of use.
Just
Correct.
change of use.
The trigger is change of use. So if they were to, I'm trying to think what else Altium could do.
So if you had
If they
a
were-
storage building and then you wanted to start building batteries, that's a change of use.
correct.
But if they're manufacturing and then they just want to manufacture a different
Something
product, is that really a change in use because they're still manufacturing? Devil's advocate.
And I guess that would be up to our solicitor if I had a question, but in my mind, if it's similarly situated and they're, kind of related, then I'm going to say no. They're already manufacturing electric batteries, for example. So if they wanted to move in a different direction and begin manufacturing battery storage, battery energy storage systems, you can see how it would be at least somewhat related. So, no, it wouldn't trigger it for me, but I would definitely ask our solicitor just to make sure.
Yeah, it would be based on, when you look at change of use, you look at similarities between the prior, whatever the prior use of the company had and the future use, and it's going to be very subjective. And if they challenge you on it, a judge would look at, the similarities, and if we were opposed to it, we would have to argue the disparities basically between it. And you also would look at how that facility is utilizing local utilities and how that, if there's a different impact on the community as well.
I guess my concern is it up to the companies to identify they intend on doing change of use? I mean, is there a process for them to notify the council and zoning? Basically, are they being self-regulated, or is there oversight by the council or the zoning and planning department too?
So, I can try to answer that for him.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Alderman, we don't go into each business.
Right.
It would be like, coming onto your property as a resident or coming into someone's home. We don't do that.
Yeah.
And to do so would essentially be trespassing,
Sure.
I would assume. So what we do is we expect that residents and businesses alike here in the village will self-report.
Okay.
And if not, there's certainly employees and people that are inside the building and that information gets
Right.
out.
Trust me when I tell you there's paddlers everywhere.
And if push comes to shove, the village in certain circumstances can get administrative warrants to go onto private property.
Right. Yeah.
Well, your businesses are also, checked for fire, through Travis and stuff to the fire department, so they got an eyeball on them at least once a year there.
Water department as well.
I think that change in use is more focused on, like, you have a building that was a candy store and they want to change over to a dog grooming salon, that's a major change in use. Just changing a small product or slightly changing what you make in a whole manufacturing scheme is just probably too similar.
Well, Foxconn is changing their use
And they
substantially.
Well, and they've gone through site plan review.
From what they originally came here to do.
Yeah, they did. They came through planning commission for a site plan review, and that was approved. And if they do any more changes or want to add on any more in the future, they'll have to come back and do additional site plan review.
But just so if a company wants to start manufacturing these storage systems, the moratorium is for companies utilizing them, not the manufacturer of them.
Okay.
Altium's already manufacturing a storage system.
It's the cell of the battery.
They're already doing this. Maybe in the same, a battery to battery, depending on if you're putting it in a car or you're putting it in the ground, but
It's still a storage of.
Yeah, it's storing energy, but they're not utilizing it.
I don't think that that's what this is talking about, Lamar, with all due respect. I'm just trying to explain that I think that if I'm understanding what a BESS is, and maybe Jessica or Jamie could help me out a little bit more too, because I know that they researched it with me, but it's almost like a vault that would go either in the ground or above the ground. And you would store batteries, maybe very similar to the batteries that Altium is creating,
Okay.
or maybe not. But it's an actual structure, I think if I'm getting it correct,
Yeah.
that stores the batteries and can
Okay.
do that
So-
above ground.
So it's storing the batteries within it?
Correct.
Okay,
It's
Store
the,
the power.
okay.
it's the whole system together.
All right, I got you.
They used to have two of them in Niles at the old power plant. That they would have these,
Like backup?
yeah, they would, at the off peak, they would put power into the batteries, and then during the day, they pull power out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially a power bank, just like a solar system would use, to where they're storing that electricity into the batteries to use at a later time. But when you start accumulating that much energy, if it's not properly controlled, or if there's not safety aspects in place, it does become very hazardous. So.
Okay.
And Mayor, I would just like to offer that legal notice was provided in the Tribune on April 24th, 2026, and the village has proof of that.
Okay. All right, very good. Are there any other council comments? Are there any other public comments? All right, motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Mosley, second by Blank. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.